Hi there, it's Vivi Cameron here. Welcome to a new video. Today I want to share with you a super easy technique to apply color pencils on dark cardstock. This is also an opportunity to show you what color pencils can do when you mix them with other media. And today I will be using also soft pastels. I will be showing the materials I use to create this composition as I go. There are not many. And you can also check out my blog for more information or details. And also find supply list in the video description, just below the video. Okay, I'm going to start by using this beautiful stamp set by Simon Says Stamp called Summer Flowers. It has these three beautiful exotic flowers that I just found perfect to apply this technique, and also to give you a couple of examples when you are stamping with a flower with a lot of petals and also a flower with a few petals. And I'm using here ordinary black cardstock. I know that when you use professional paper you get better results, but this was an experiment and I didn't mind the paper I was using. But when I finished, I really liked the results and I decided to turn these into cards. Okay, so now I'm going to start stamping and I'm going to use my Team Holtz stamping platform to stamp this image a couple of times, like so. And that's done. I'm going to leave this to dry. I'm not going to emboss this or heat emboss this, no. And I'm going to bring another panel and I'm going to stamp this time with white ink. And I'm only going to stamp this image once. Of course, I need to make sure that I transfer the image perfectly on the cardstock, and I only need to make sure that I'm not going to create bold white lines, but just a watermark. So I'm going to finish stamping. I'm going to stamp now the stem and the leaves or this beautiful flower, and I'm going to finish my clear Versamark panel, and this is how it looks, so you can still see it. And now I'm going to finish stamping the other panel with the white ink. So these are two options for you to try, and depending the ink you use to stamp your images, clear or white, you are going to get different results. They are slightly different and you will notice that at the end. So I'm going to stamp another panel as well with clear Versamark ink and another flower in the stamp set. Here I'm also going to be using one of the stems from More Spring Flowers stamp set. So you can also find that you can mix and match images from these stamp sets. They have also an stitched texture on the flowers that you cannot see here because I'm completely covering the images with color. But if you just decided to stamp normally on white cardstock, you will see that beautiful design on those flowers. I just finished stamping this panel. Hope you can see there the flowers. And I finished the stamping. So I'm going to show you an alternative way to add color to the flowers, which is not my favorite. So I stamped the flower on a piece of paper. If you have masking paper, that will be better. And I'm just cutting the negative space to be able to create a negative mask. So I can place the paper like so on my flowers, and this could be used as a stencil to avoid getting the black cardstock around the flowers all contaminated with that dust that comes from the soft pastels. So this is an idea for you, but I really find this completely unnecessary. That was an experiment. I say, okay, I'm going to do this, and at the end of the day I spent 10 minutes there and I say, oh no, that's not necessary at all. Then I start coloring my flower with the pastels, and as it has really tiny petals, I only need to apply actually a line, and then I soften it with my finger's tip like so. As you can see there, I'm using a yellow pastel. So I say, okay, this is not working, this pastel might be bad quality, I'm going to apply a bunch of it, and that's what I did. And then I was hoping that underneath this mask there is not contamination of that pastel, but look at that. there was completely a disaster. So I just check the dust of the excess dust of the pastel on a baby wipe just to avoid getting that dust everywhere. And with the help of this brush, I got rid of the excess of dust that comes from that soft pastel. Now it's time to apply the color fixative. I was so looking forward for this because I want to see how this product keep the color on the cardstock. You will think that your image disappear, but don't worry, your pastel colors are still there. This is going to look like this, but you will see later on that when the fixative dries, that pastel color is going to come alive again. So while I wait for that to happen, I'm going to start adding colors to the image I stamped with white ink. So I start adding colors to the petals, but I didn't add the same color to all of them. I applied yellow in some of the petals, orange in others, and a kind of mustard color in another petals. And then I keep going and I see a little bit more of shape in this flower. So you can see here how this is looking so far. And you will also see me cleaning my hands with a wipe very often, and this is a healthy practice when you are using soft pastels to avoid transferring that pastel everywhere. There is not a reason to be worried about how bad this is looking. You already saw the result. So this is going to look very nice, and check out here, the fixative is already drying, so the pastel is coming live again, or that color is showing up again. So I keep using the brush just to soften that pastel like so, and when I'm doing this I'm also blending all those colors I laid down first, the orange, the mustard, and the yellow. Okay, so now I'm feeling a little bit more confident, and I'm going to lay a lot of color on those leaves using green, brown, and yellow pastels, and blending with a brush and with my fingertips like so. I'm going to get rid of any excess of that pastel dots from my hands and also from the picture. And once I'm sure I don't have any of that pastel dust anywhere, I apply the color fixative. Just like that. I put the can a little bit far from the paper and I just apply like that. And as I know, this is going to look completely translucent. So I'm going to grab my heat tool to dry this fixative a little bit quicker and see the results with a little bit more of speed. The pastels are there forever. They are not moving, they are not going anywhere, and this is ready to apply color pencils. So today I'm going to be using Chameleon Colored pencils, and this is the very first time I use the pencils, but they have very good reviews, so I really decide to order them. You can get them from Simon Says Stamp Shop, and the price is incredible for the quality of the pencils. You get 50 colors in this box, and the blendability is just amazing. So once I managed to open this box that take me like forever, I just found this beautiful box and this nice presentation, and I didn't read the manual, I never do. So I just start applying the colors straight away. And I'm going to start by applying the darker shades of colors first. And then I'm going to apply a lighter shade of color on top of that darker color. I'm going to blend them together, and I'm going to build up the color working from the center of the flower towards the edges of the petals. I always do that when I'm coloring. There is not any difference today. And if you see, I'm applying the color with some strokes or just lines, trying to create a kind of V shape there in the base of the petals. And I'm applying good pressure on that pencil as well. You might be thinking that you can apply a white coat of color instead the pastel or the soft pastels, But the truth is that you are going to achieve completely different results because the white color tend to mute the colors, change the colors, and alter the colors. Here, you get the pure color. The soft pastel is not blending with your color pencils. So it's acting there, it's doing something underneath, but it's not really mixing. It's making the difference. Now I'm going to speed the camera so you can see how I laid down the color a little bit quicker, and it's going to allow you also to understand a little bit more the process. Then I start applying the lighter color at the edges of that flower, and then I saw my sunflower to white. So I just grab a darker yellow, kind of orangey color, and I apply it on top of everything. And that's how I like it the most. There is not a wrong process here or a right process. It's just up to you and anything you like the most. Okay, so I kind of like the colors of the petals, but I don't like the white outline all over the image because I stamped this image with white ink. So I decided to go all over those lines using a brown color pencil and a black color pencil. So that's what I'm going to do here. You will see me using there a brown color and also a black color. And I also feel that this image was being a little bit dull. So I use a red pencil to add some strokes here and there and try to warm up that image, just like that. I use a white pencil and I start coloring in very soft the center of the flower, also using a red and a purple color like so. And you can see there what I did. I just mixed color here and there. I went a little bit crazy there just to try to get kind of a volume in the center. So I also trace a hard line all around the center of the flower just to give that effect. And with a white pencil, I just trace a little spot of a light there that you can see, and it looks like a reflection of light, but it's actually just a dot of color. And I keep adding colors to the leaves as well, using same shades of color, mustard, brown, greens, yellow, purple, red, and I went a little bit crazy coloring the leaves, to be honest. This means that I wasn't thinking too much what I was doing. So I just sometimes, when I'm doing this kind of stuff, I don't think too much in the technique and the steps I have to follow, etc., etc. But I just think and enjoy the process. So that happened when I was coloring the leaves. So you can see that what I was doing, I was trying to give them shape, and especially because I didn't lay down properly the soft pastel, and because I did that, my leaves look a little bit different. So to try to fix my mess there, I grab a blending tool and I just try to smooth the color there, and I just keep adding a little bit of color here and there, trying to create shadows. And to finish, I always use this kind of marker just to add dots of light here and there. And I also use this black pen, which is really fine, and I like to add some lines all around the center of the flower. So that's what I did to add color. I know it's quite a bit fast. You might be frustrated because I'm not going slow. Leave a comment in the description of this video if you want to see this slow, or if you want me to make another card and explain kind of step by step how I did here. I was just kind of experimenting. I wasn't thinking in sharing the video, but I really like the results and I say, okay, let's share. And I'm trying to develop a habit, which is just filming myself when I'm working, and then if it's good enough to share, I just shared. Before I used to do something else. And that's why it takes me forever to make a video. So something I want to share with you here is that you can get these erasers and you can get them for white cardstock and also for black cardstock. So you need a black eraser when you are coloring on black cardstock. That's something I completely forgot, and when I was in the craft shop I saw the eraser and I said, oh my goodness, I'm going to get them right now. And of course the difference is remarkable. So you can go with this eraser and just clean the edges of your image and just get some nice edges there. Then I'm happy with this panel, and it's going to become a card. So I'm not going to show you the process to make a card, just the finishing card, because what I want you to focus in this video is to show you how to color this way. And actually I made two very simple cards. You can see in the picture right now, so there is not too much to explain. And another thing is that I think when you create a panel like this one, you don't need to make much. So keep it simple and clean. Another thing, if you can see there, the image looked like if it was printed. It's just so amazing because when you move the paper around, it has this gloss, just cool. I absolutely love the pencils. It's the first time I used them, but I can tell you I'm loving the Chameleon pencils. Also, this stunning flower from Summer Flowers stamp set by Simon Says Stamp. And I want to show you this because if you decide to stamp your images with clear Versamark ink, is going to be a little bit different in terms of the process. You're going to do exactly the same, but you are going to be a little bit thinking that the things are not going right. But it's not like that. It's completely different because you are not going to be able to see, as you could see in the example I just showed you, all the outlines. The outlines are there and you are going to get worried because you can't really see definition in the image. But this image is going to gain that definition while you apply color. So I really want to show you this because it's important and because, in my opinion, the image looks better when you stamp with clear Versamark ink. But of course, you have the option to stamp with your white ink, and you will be okay as well, as you can after go over those lines with a black color pencil or a brown color pencil, and you won't be able to see those white lines. We don't want white hard lines in this kind of compositions. I'm going to allow the color fixative to dry a little bit, and then I'm going to fill these flowers here with soft pastels. This is also to give you an example of flowers with less petals. And if you are still with me, I'm going to show you in 2 minutes how I do that at the end of the video. So for now, I'm going to focus in this other sunflower. I'm doing exactly the same. I'm starting by applying darker colors in the center of the flower, and I'm building up the color from the center of the flower toward the edges of the petals. I'm also warming up the image using a red color pencil. When I stamp with clear Versamark ink, it also allows me to do something different in the center of the flower. When I stamp it with white ink, you can see all the texture around the center of the flower. But here I could trace some dots and I could play a little bit more with white pencil. So I achieve a little different result. You will be able to see that difference in this picture. Can you see that in the center of the flower? Those are small differences and also options for you. Another thing I haven't mentioned is the pressure I'm doing on that pencil. Sometimes I'm applying gentle pressure and sometimes I'm applying more pressure. That's something you need to try when you are coloring. For example, I know it's not helpful, but something key. When you apply the soft pastels on your image, you can apply a lot of pressure on the pencil and you will get okay results. If you don't, well, it doesn't matter how much pressure you do, the color pencils are not going to show up. And I'm going to show you that in 1 second. So don't be worried about the pressure. You will notice that. You will see when you are coloring it, you see that it's not working, put more pressure. And you will see that sometimes I don't have the pencil in vertical, but horizontal, like from that paper. Almost the whole tip of the pencil is on the cardstock, and I can create shadows like that. And some other times I just trace hard lines, and other times I move my hands in flicking motion. When I'm coloring flowers, I apply the flicking motion to define the edges of the petals in those areas in which the petals gather together or at the base of the petals. But I can do that any moment just to create some contrast or darker lines. And to finish, I apply white dots and black dots as always. And I want to slow the camera now because I want to show you something. I think you already noticed that these two images are looking really different. And that's because one was stamped with white ink and the other one was stamped with clear Versamark ink. You can notice a difference in the color of the leaves because I also laid down in the wrong way the soft pastel. So you see here in this image that these leaves are more translucent than this one here. Then it doesn't matter how hard I work in that area to get darker colors, the colors are not going to show up. So I'm going to have to work harder to get those leaves colors. And then you can see the magic of the soft pastels acting underneath that pencil color. In both images, I have a pastel coat underneath. In one of them, a little bit more thicker and dense, and in the other one, a little bit softer. And despite you could not see in the camera the fine lines of the stamped image, I could see it here, so I was coloring the image accordingly. So I did exactly the same in both images. So the first example can give you a reference to color any other flower. That's it. That's how you color these sunflowers. Now, I know it's a long video, but I really want to explain you some details. If I sit alone to color this image, it will take me 10 minutes. It's not time consuming, okay? It's just because I'm just playing around, experimenting. But trust me, it's not that much. So now, in 2 minutes, I'm going to show you how I add colors to these flowers. It's very much the same. I start with the darker shades of color pencils in the center of the flower and building up the color towards the edges of the petals. So that's another idea to color other images. I didn't went so picky with this one. I just wanted to color really quick. Took me 8 minutes, and because I was hesitating about which colors I should lay down. But honestly, I really want to invite you to give a try to the technique, applying soft pastels and then playing around with your colored pencils. I'm going to finish this panel and I'm going to blog about it as well. And that's all for today. I hope you enjoyed this video. Do not forget to subscribe to my channel, visit my blog for more ideas and inspiration, and you can also order any of the supplies I'm using in this video from the video description. If you don't find the exact supply because you live in another country, you can also guide yourself from the list in the video description. Thank you very much for watching and happy crafting. Bye!